Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Master Division here for the playoff tournament qualifying round in Golf Clash the game. Video sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Make sure you do hit that thumbs up button, also subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. You can get the ultimate tournament guides for Pro, Expert and or Master by going to patreon.com/golfclashtommy. If you're looking to improve your tour play as well, we do have packer for that also, so check it out, link directly in the description down below. Follow the info box on the right hand side for the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, also a ball and club type I suggest you to play with. Have in mind that those are all suggestions, but you don't have to follow what I do suggest, but there is always a plan behind it. So let's go to hole number 1. We start off with Ascent Wind, which means that we're most likely not going to get this wind further down in the tournament, but it's also going to simplify hole 1 and make this one a must. Here with Apocalypse level 7, 4th ring to the right by the rough line at complete max distance. Adjust max plus 10. I'm gonna give you a push-up reference for 17.5 miles per hour. I do push up to plus 16 yard mark. You will also notice that I will be adding some spins eventually, which is going to be 3 bars of side spin to the left, and we're gonna use 1 bar of a backspin to just correct. I think I said plus 15 yard mark, I meant plus 16. Now, try to hit perfect with slow needle, which obviously is easier than hit perfect with faster needle, and then we're gonna bounce on the fairway into the rough and roll out on green. What I've been doing here now is that I would, however, though, recommend to go with 1.5 bars of backspin if you do have wind that is around, between 18 and 19 miles per hour. A little tweak there to make sure that we're not going to go over the rough, especially if we do hit a great left. Apocalypse level 8 starts with 1/4 of the 4th ring into the rough on the right. Apocalypse 5 and 6 starts with 1/3 of the 4th ring inside the rough to the right instead. So a couple of different positions here due to the Apocalypse level 8 has more curl than Apoc 5, 6 and 7, so we do need to counteract with that too and make sure that we always go with full curl left. So a pretty easy start here on hole 1. Hole number 2, and we're going to play with the rock. Here I would recommend to start with a basic ball to set the spins, because we're only going to use 4.2 bars of backspin. Now, very important that when you set up your target that you look for the top of the ball guideline to be centered in between the dark and the bright green square row, but also not above the top of the dark green square row to have as a reference. Now, adjustment shall be medium distance, minus 10%, power 5 ball settings, and we're going to look to use a small 1201. Very important that you're not using any 1159 for this shot, because if you do, you risk missing the rough. And also, obviously, having some accidental overpower and stuff like that could hurt you a lot, but I do believe that this is our best chance to, in a consistent way, make an hole-in-one here on hole number 2, and that's why we take a little risk by, obviously having those elements of not being, we cannot use any 1159 and no overpower, as would be mistakes, obviously, but, we don't have that room forever. Hole number 2, good chance with a rough bump. For hole number 3, I'm going to have the same tactic as I will be having on the other 2 par 5s coming up here in this video, in this playthrough. So I'm gonna start here by playing with 2 bars of left spin, and I'm going to play with top spin as well. And you can see that I use 5.5 bar top spin, and my plan is only to get the ball down the fairway. So you can see that I aim in the center of the fairway. How can I then know that I am aiming at the correct direction? It's because once I've added spin, I look at the tip of my ball guideline to be pointing towards the rough that is just to the left of the top bunker. Start at a plus 1 yard mark as well, so when we do adjust here, we do adjust max plus 10, and we will not adjust into overpower even if we do have the highest possible wind here with this power 5 ball, which is the beautiful part with this here. Be careful with a great left, and if you have a tendency to hit great left with your drive, it could be worth maybe starting a little bit more right just to counteract that by, you know, if you hit a great left, because we don't want to go into the rough. But we do need to get fairly close to that side, because otherwise we are in a bad angle. Second shot here now, we are looking to just transport the ball up to be somewhat around minimum distance club with our short iron. We're actually not going for green. Because what I feel here is that if we are going to push the drive with some sort of a power hook or a power... Yeah, it will be a hook, I think. If we're gonna push that with a power hook, or just max overpower, the risk of us messing up the drive will increase a lot. And then also the second shot, indirect headwind, is gonna most likely have to max overpower that one as well and bounce and roll through the rough, which also is going to be tough. So I value this setup here where we do play with two shots that has no overpower with it, and then obviously we have a third shot where we do need to hit perfect, because I feel that if we are pushing two shots, the risk that we end up into the rough or into the sand having to try to hit perfect from there is gonna be huge compared to what it would be, you know, it will be huge compared to, you know, ending on green or ending on green instead. So just play it careful, and that will be the best thing in my opinion. So we're gonna change club here for the second shot. And we're also going to change the elevation, because now the third shot is going to be played in a different way. Here we're gonna play with a minus 10% elevation, and we're going to play min distance, or we're gonna be playing close to min distance depending on how long and or short we did for the second shot. We're gonna find the video here now for the third shot on hole number 3, which we do have here. Here you can see that I'm just in complete minimum distance with my short iron, which is absolutely perfect. We're gonna try to find minimum distance all the time, but if you are not in minimum distance club, count rings from min with your short iron. And here you don't have to play with a falcon, you can play with the thorn as well, but I would recommend the falcon if you have it in level 6 plus. Minimum distance, minus 10% elevation, power 5 ball numbers, 2 bar side spin to the right and 1.5 bar top spin to get the ball through the hole. And then the only thing we need to do is obviously hit perfect, which is not something that everyone is going to do every time. I don't feel that I will do it every time, but if you do, you're gonna drop this one every single time. So hole number 3, we play for a, you know, safe eagle, but in the end I think it's way safer to do this instead of trying to push it, and you know, that might be that good and we might be having a birdie more time than not. For hole number 4, you will see two options, one where we play with a driver, one where we do play with a wood club. We start with the driver, 1.8 bars of backspin, 1 bar of left spin. Now I'm looking to have top of the yellow ring to be by the edge of the rough, with the ball guideline approximately half a green square left of pin. Look at the bottom right of the blue ring as well, 1/3 into the darker piece of rough. Once that is done, we shall make an adjustment, and in this case we shall be using maximum distance, minus 5%, power 0 ball numbers. And in my opinion here, I would like us to play with a small 12-01 to make sure that we're not going to go too far up into the rough and therefore miss. So we need to pull the ball a little bit further back, and therefore we're using a small 12-01 here for this shot. Hit perfect, and this is going to be a very good chance to drop, because there is a massive funnel on this green, and for those of you that has played this hole before knows how good of a chance this is to drop for an hole in one. Right at pin, which happened several times on hole number 4 with this shot. But let's take a look at this shot with our wood club. For hole number 4, again, second option, we play with the Guardian, 2 bars of topspin and then 0.4 bars of side spin to the right. We go to absolute maximum position here with the Guardian level 8 and 9. The difference between Guardian 8 and 9 is that the Guardian 8 has slightly less accuracy, so the right side of the yellow ring shall just barely overlap the darker rough to the right. Guardian level 9, you have the right side of the yellow ring by that rough line. Adjustment here now shall be with a small 12-01, we play maximum distance with a 10% over adjustment, power 3 ball settings. And then we shall take our shot. Those of you that are low on P3 win 5 balls, then you can change to whatever wind 5 ball that has power 1 minimum after your adjustment to save those power 3 balls. This is also an extremely good chance to get a drop here on hole number 4. I would prefer the driver myself, but you know, the wood club option is not bad either. I just like the fact that we do hit the rough further up with the driver. That's why I like the first option a little bit more. On hole number 5, we're going to have a tough wind here, almost a direct headwind, and this is not going to be a gimme at all. And I decided after a lot of practice attempts to go for a rough bump with a wind 4 power 3 ball. So I'm starting just before the plus 0 yard mark, or the plus 1 yard mark, with my Apocalypse. Red ring by the rough line with Apocalypse 7 and 8, and then Apocalypse 5 and 6, and we go 1/3 of the red ring inside the rough to the right. Adjustment max plus 10. Don't use any overpower whatsoever if you don't have a wind that is above 9.8 miles per hour. And the reason for that is that we do not want that, or we don't need that overpower in the lowest wind, because we're aiming to get somewhere around 319 to 323 yards. But if we do have the highest type of wind with wind 4, we need to add a little bit, and then you take the bottom of the ball to just cover the bottom teeth. That's the overpower that you only need with highest wind. Now, second shot, we're gonna go to min distance of our club with our long iron. I'm gonna set 4 bars of side spin to the right and 5 bars of top spin. Once that is done, we shall then look to have the ball guideline approximately 3.5 to 4 green squares through the hole. And once we have done that, we shall then change to 3 bars of side spin and 5 bars of top spin. So we start by setting our position with 4 bars of top, 4 bars of side spin, then changing to 3. Why? It's because it's tough to find that offset otherwise, and therefore I'm using the 3 bars of side spin as a step 2 instead of starting with that, because I believe we're gonna have more success with this than just 3 bars directly and then set our offset position. Adjustment in this case, minimum distance minus 10%. In the end though, what I'm looking for is to play rings from min. So have in mind that we're going to try to be ourselves in complete minimum distance of our club all the time. Then we'll play min plus 10. But obviously if you have to move up from minimum distance to find your position, then you're gonna have to increase your adjustment. So for hole number 6 here, we do want to use a topspin boost ball. My recommendation is the face-off ball, but you can play this one as equally well with a palm ball or with the Bryson ball, or you can play with a Dunes ball. You have the Virtuoso ball. You know, you do have plenty of different topspin boosts nowadays. So what we are looking for, add all the topspin you can. Stretch out your club to see the second bounce to be as, just before the bunker at the top. Then we shall adjust max plus 10. Once that is done, we will apply overpower. Then how much overpower? We shall adjust 1 ring more than what we adjust into. So make sure that you check that all the way through. So don't stress with your adjustment, because you will be having time. The plan for us here is to bounce on the fairway, second bounce on the fairway, into the rough above the bunker to roll out to get to around 420 yards. Obviously, if you don't judge the overpower correct, you can go into the bunker. So I would strongly advise you to, if you are uncertain about the amount of overpower to use, always go with a little bit more than what your gut tells you. Because it's better to go long and in a best/worst case scenario that you're bouncing over the rough and rolling out on the second fairway. I actually did that once in practice and went up to a very nice distance. That's not going to happen all the time, but it did happen then. So if we go based on the general way of this shot to be, is like the second shot, start a complete max, white ring to the rough line on the right with Cataclysm 8. Cataclysm 7, 6 and 5 is gonna have the white ring just slightly inside the rough, because it has bigger rings due to worse accuracy. Adjust max plus 10, push up to max. Then with Cataclysm level 8, we do adjust 28 rings for a power slice. For Cataclysm level 7, we adjust 25 rings. For Cataclysms level 5 and 6, we adjust 21 ring for a power slice here. And once that is done, obviously don't forget about the spin. When we are in a situation like this, when we had a drive that was 420-ish, we should always use around 2.5 to 3 bars of topspin, not more, not less. If we have a longer drive, then obviously we need to reduce the topspin, because otherwise we will fly over the green. And if we have a shorter drive, then we need to go with more topspin. My plan here is, from this range, not really to go to the green, because I'm fine with having such a short wedge towards the pin where we can use all the topspin we do have on the topspin boost ball. You can see here now that this wedge is going to be so extremely simple with all the topspin that you can use, that is only going to be a minimum distance with a 10% over adjustment power 3 ball settings from this range. So I'm always going to play this min plus 10 P3. I'm not going to do any EB school, anything like that. I'm just going to play this one min plus 10 power 3 for this wedge. But again though, ladies and gentlemen, you know, it might look easy, but this is not an easy hole by any means. So be definitely happy and see this eagle as a drop, because again, there will be plenty of players out there getting a birdie because they either mess up the drive, or they mess up the second shot, or they just misread the wedge. So it's 3 shots you need to execute perfectly to be able to get this eagle here. But if you follow the advice here in the video, and also for those of you having the guide, you will have no problem getting the eagle here if you just do everything correct. For hole number 7, you will first see a short video where I'm going to show you the landing position and also, you know, the setup in itself. You know, we start with a sniper, complete max distance, and looking at the ball guideline without having any type of spin. I'm gonna take that again. You can see the tip of the ball guideline to go just left of the, you know, the right side of the dark green square row. That is very important. That's why I zoom in there as well, because, you know, again, it's gonna be crucial for that shot. You can see that the video is very short there, and that's because the replays in Golf Clash sometimes are extremely weird. And you can see here, this is the replay I get, you know, regardless how many times I do, you know, force close and reload the app, and you can see it's completely different, which that's why I want to show you the way with sniper first that comes from the other practice mode that I got there. So max plus 20 is what we are adjusting with our sniper. In the end though, if you do not want to play with a Spartan ball, which I don't want to spend that type of ball, then I do a ball swap to a NASCAR ball or to any other type of Win 5 ball after my adjustment, so I can spend those balls instead. But you can obviously play with a Spartan if you also. No spin is what we're using here at all, and we're just doing minor tweaks depending on wind angle, and bouncing on the fairway, over the rough and water, and roll towards the pin. And this time, right at pin for a beautiful one. This is a good chance in my opinion, but you know, it's a bit finicky when it comes to reading the wind angles correct. But once again, have in mind that, you know, we set up with a power 4 ball, no spin, looking at the tip of the ball guideline with sniper, complete max distance. We adjust max plus 20 power 4 ball numbers, and then after that we do a ball swap if we want. Good chance on hole 7. So for hole number 8, we do have another Ascent Wind, and what we want to do here is to have a fixed position. That's why I don't have an elevation listed into the info box. We do want to have the left side of the yellow ring to be just by the edge of the dark and the darker rough line, as you can see there now, in complete max distance. Here I'm going to change between a berserker ball and a snow globe ball, to always make sure that I'm going to have somewhere between 14.5 and 16.5 miles per hour every single time. Because, you know, when it comes to Ascent Winds, obviously going from a range of 13.6 to a 19, which would be, you know, for, you know, the wind 1 and wind 0, it's gonna be a little bit too much in my opinion. So I want to limit that, and that's why we're changing between 2 different type of wind resistant balls here. But obviously, with whatever wind we have, our aim goal is to either bounce over the rough directly or to clip the rough and roll out for a simple wedge. One thing to have in mind though is that you can see there that I play with 2.5 bar backspin, 2 bars of left spin. That is in crosswind angle. If you're noticing that you have more tailwind than what you have crosswind, I'm gonna show you there here as well. This is a video with more tailwind. When you have more tailwind, you will obviously carry further than what you will do with crosswind. And you can see here now that the tailwind is pretty obvious to spot if you look at that tree that you do have in the center line there. If you are right of that tree, then you have tailwind. And what I do then is that I'm going with 4 bars of backspin, no side spin whatsoever here, and then go with the same type of play as I did otherwise. Same position and, you know, and so forth. And you will see here that, you know, comparing to where our first bounce were when we had crosswind and then tailwind, look how far up we are getting here now. And you can see here that with 4 bars of backspin, we are still getting to green, but, you know, we obviously come in hotter than what we did with 2.5 bar backspin. That's why the wind angle is so important on this hole, and something that you do need to think about. Otherwise, you will have an inconsistent result, and I would say that you're mainly going to be lucky if you're going to end up on green all the time. So up to you if you want to use that wind angle reference, but trust me, if you're gonna have 100% eagles on this one, you need to do that. Hole number 9, it's a very tempting win to send it, but I'm not gonna do so, because it's a qualifying round, and the albatrosses, by sending it, is gonna be so low that I'm honestly, I'm not gonna bother. So what I'm gonna do, 1 backspin, 2 left spin, I'm gonna start at a plus 24 yard mark, and that's the same as max position for power 4 ball. And blue ring to the left by the rough line with Apox 7 and 8. Apocalypse 5 and 6, I would go 1/3 of the blue ring inside the rough to the left. Adjustment, maximum distance plus 10. Don't push up to max, because we shall go max overpower with slow needle with full curl to the left. Try to hit perfect, a great right, great left will still be fine. That's gonna be no problem. You're gonna bounce over the rough and water nicely and position yourself for a very simple shot towards the green to secure the eagle. You can see the shot here, Cataclysm. I start at max distance, no top spin or backspin, just left spin. Obviously gonna have to adapt with either a little bit top spin or backspin depending on how far you're getting with the drive. But if you hit perfect, you will be in this spot all the time here. Look for the spot that is just to the right of the sticky spot, and how to get that then. You move left and right and you will notice where the sticky spot. Max, no elevation. Half a ball of curl to the left, try to hit perfect. Again, great left, great right is fine. And the only thing that I'm looking for here is to be somewhere on green / fringe / fairway, and to just lock in the eagle here on hole number 9. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough for Master Division here for the Playoff Tournament Qualifying Round Edition. Drops on all the par 3s and all the par 4s, which was my goal when I started recording for this playthrough. Video sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Get the ultimate tournament guide for Master Division or Pro or Expert. Patreon.com/GolfClashTommy is your place. Thank you once again for watching, and good luck in your Golf Clash game.